Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Spica and her Job Plus. I find it to be a really good improvement. She was just lacking enlightenment and, it's a more relevant kit to today's meta, and she got that with her Job Plus. She's now got stats that make her very durable, and they made her counter preemptive, which is huge. I think any character with a preemptive counter is, at the very least, worth looking at, if not worth using. And in the case of Spica, she's a very low investment kind of character. She's just a normal pool unit with a hard quest that's pretty early on, so you don't even have to be that far in the story mode to have access to it. And she has two mementos, and both of them are normal pool. Although apparently with the selectors not being updated, that makes it a little bit more difficult. But in general, just not a bad choice for investment because it won't end up costing you too much in the terms of resources, and then you end up with a unit that is capable of like soloing a lot of the more repetitive multiplayer levels, like in this case the Sloth's Redemption Advanced. But you could throw her on auto and do just fine, and then the counter will do a lot of the work for you. So I think I would recommend her to just everyone. So with that, I'm going to say we should go on to the unit screen and take a look at her stats and abilities and mementos and gears, etc. And then after that, I'll show off the moves. Okay, so first a quick note. At the time of this recording, there are still a few days left to get Spica from the challenge board if you haven't yet done that. Until Wednesday on reset, that would be February 3rd. So you can get her and then 150 shards, and that's enough to get her Job Plus unlocked. So it's not a lot of time left. I imagine most of you probably have done it already, but just in case anyone was on the fence about it, get off the fence and get Spica. She'll be worth it, even if it takes a little bit of time to pay off. Alright, now let's actually take a look at her in the unit screen. If I can find her, there she is. Alright, so I think we'll start with seals. I just went for something fairly simple, P attack and P defense. Most of the damage she's going to take is probably going to be P attack, and then she scales off P attack, but you might want to go like HP or something, depending if you're happy with her attack. But generally speaking, unless something weird is going on, I would prioritize damage. Alright, now let's take a look at her ability setup. She has a couple of options because she also has the Dragon Cavalier. So sometimes I will run her with the Ancient Dragon sub. So that way she can do the charge up and then either the single target or the AoE jump. And then it also affects her other jumping moves for the charge up. But you could just as easily do the basic axe as well, and it has some decent skills on it. As well, I don't typically do the Shadow Assassin one, but if you needed CC for something, that potentially could be useful, but I don't think in general it would give you as much power as either the Warrior or the Dragoon abilities. And then her her reactive is, that one is definitely fixed. You want to have her have Goliath Axe, so in order to have that, you need to have this Goliath Blazon. What is that word? I don't know, but you want this ability because it gives her defensive stats and it gives her that preemptive counter that gives her a buff. And then, of course, if you have Gate 2, then that would be the other one. So for Mementos, she has two. The one that I've got equipped here is the older one that is waiting to load. There it is. And this will give her stuff that she wants. It's not going to be terribly impressive because it's, one of the earlier batches of mementos that came out in the entire game. But if you have it, it's good to have. The VCR from it is pretty good too, especially if you don't have the Minotaur Axe. I feel like the value of that VCR is diminished if you have the Minotaur Axe, because that's where you'd get your agility from and P attack, etc. But that's good to have. Her other memento, the one that just came out, is normal pool. And it's really good, especially if you're able to max limit break it, because then you get buff duration +1, and thus her counter becomes even more powerful because of the buff she applies to herself that's stackable, would get even more potent. But as far as would I consider it like necessary for the character to be good? No. No, I think she's perfectly fine without it. Just if you do have it, you can turn her into an absolute monster. VCR as well is really good for her. So in that case, because her VCR on the new Memento is also an axe, you might want to go back to the old VCR as well to get your agility from that. Because then you get a pretty noticeable damage bump from it, and then you get the agility from the butterfly accessory. But if you don't have that, then Minotaur Axe works well. So yeah, speaking of, what I've got equipped on her right now is the Minotaur Axe, regen armor, and then the Neovita ring, just to do for extra damage against dark opponents, and then also making her immune to daze. But there are a few different options you have for gear. Because she's a light unit, she has some really good options. If you have the Veda armor, for example, if I can find it, have it sorted by type, you can make yourself immune to paralyze, which can be really useful in some levels. And then you can also do the Neovita ring if daze is the thing that you're trying to fight against. Or you could just give her an accessory, like if you have the Levi teacup for more slash mod. Like, as long as she's got a good source of HP and a good weapon for attacks damage, then she's pretty much going to be fine. So yeah, let's take a look at some of her gates. So HP, P attack, crit, all things that she would want to have. For gate 2, this puts max HP and all attack up on her sky high, which is another incentive to use the Dragoon sub, just to give her more jumps, because you'll have the plus sides that come with it already just built into her gate 2. I haven't maxed her gate 3. I think it's all right for a leader skill, but not what I would call amazing. I think there's better leader skills out there, especially if you're going to end up using her in Shadow Messiah teams. Then it's going to be a Memento leader skill anyway. Gate 4 is more stats that she wants, and then her gate 5 is very nice for 2 reasons. It gives you the option of running the HP drain in situations where maybe you don't want her preemptive counter, although that's going to be kind of rare, but at least it's good to have. But more importantly, you can enhance her spinning axe hit, and it'll add a jewel drain on top of it, so it kind of pays for itself when you're doing her 3-move combo. And I believe it also increases the range, so that is very good to have. And then, of course, gate 6 is more HP, and then if you have both of her mementos, then that's an incentive to max that gate as well. But all in all, you don't need, like, everything that exists in her kit to make her good. You just need, I'd say gate 5 and gate 2, and then some good runes on her, and then you can just throw her in her map and let her just start countering away. But yeah, that is it for the unit screen, so let's go into the training area and see what her moves actually look like. Alright, here we are at the battle screen. Thanks to the power of editing, her MP is now full. So, with only a move of 3, that limits Spica's mobility, but she is able to fix that with her advancing style, which not only raises her P defense for 3 turns, it will also give her strong versus monsters, so watch out any enemy with the tag monster. So that's just, I like to sometimes use this at the beginning of a battle. That way she can just close the distance, and then things will start to attack her and get the counter going. Next up, we have Southern Cross, which will inflict slow, as well as raise Spica's slash attack power. So this is a good one to use right before the big combo. And not terrible damage by itself, and pretty sizable AoE. Then she's also got a jumping attack that is 100% hit, but keep in mind it's a slash attack, not a jump type attack. So if you are running her with the Dragon Cavalier sub, the Dragon Charge move is not going to affect the damage of this. It'll only affect the Garuda leap and jump moves. Then she has got a move called Revenge Quasar, which is like the Warrior's Revenge Crush, except that it also will stun and then lower the enemy's agility while they're stunned, which is kind of nice because say you like stun an enemy, now they can't move or act for, 1 or 2 or 3 turns depending on the nature of the stun. So by lowering their agility, that takes them longer for their turn to come around, just because they'll have a bit of a CT advantage when it comes to that. Then finally, she has her combo move. So first you use Star Axe hit, then that'll turn into another move, and then that turns into another move. So it's a 3-hit combination type move. Not a very common mechanic in this game, but a few different characters have combos. And I think they're going to become a little bit more common too as some of the Templars, like Zen, get their job pluses. But yeah, before we get the combo rolling, let's use Southern Cross on this guy. Get her slash up. Then we'll go into Star Axe hit. And this is also a teleporting move. So with the combination of her ability to increase her own move and then run and then teleport, she can cover quite a bit of distance, which is nice. And the other nice thing is you get gate 5 and it adds a jewel drain on top of it, so it will pay for itself MP wise. So when you're considering the MP costs, you just have to consider the next 2 moves in the set. And then it also just increases her defense all around. So to help her survive long enough to do the combo. Next up is Comet Axe Lop, which is weird. I thought it was going to be Comet Axe Loop, but that's okay, because she does lop an axe around. So this one is non-typed, and it'll lower P attack and P defense for the enemies, and then the next step will be the final part of the combo. So not terrible damage in and of itself, even if it is just to get to the destination, which is Comet Crash. So this one is great because it's a big AoE, and it'll drain health, and it's 100% hit, and it raises P attack and agility for 3 turns, and reduces jewel spent. So this is kind of what I would consider her big move. And it's just great because HP drain attacks will eat right through shields in case that's going to be an issue. So yeah, not too bad. And it's nice when you're fully surrounded because then the chances of getting healed back to full is very, very high. But yeah, let's take a look at her basic kit. So she's got an ability to throw an axe. Not amazing, but decent range. She can raise P attack for units around self. Standard warrior kind of thing. And then she's got a pretty great move, which has an amazing range. If you want to make sure to get as many stacks as you can on her counter, then using Axe Tailgate will be great because it'll inflict rage, and then it's got this giant AoE. So yeah, that's how you would accomplish that. And then she can also raise her own agility. Seems like her agility is high enough now that could be useful if you've got jewels to burn and you're trying to get somewhere fast and you've got nothing offensively to do. But otherwise, nothing to write home about. So yeah, that is it for the Spica review. I think she's really, really solid, and just because she's such an easy, she's a free unit now, thanks to the challenge board, doesn't require a lot, easy to raise, can be really, really useful in a lot of different maps. So yeah, I'll showcase her Memento ability, which is Double Star. Another good one for shield breaking, if it's like a hit based. But yeah, that is it for the review. Coming up next is going to be Zahar, and then I'm also going to do one for Cannon and Glons, but it might bleed into next week, depending on how long it takes to get through all these reviews. There's been so many lately. Alright, but with that, I will see you all next time.